Hey, it's Caroline with Fleet Feet, and spring has officially sprung, which means it's the return of racing season in many parts of the country. Unless you live somewhere super hot like me, where racing season is officially over, you may be thinking about where to sign up for your next race, how to find your training plan, what to wear on race day, and there's no single more important thing you can put on your body for race day than your racing shoes, which is why we are gonna go over our favorite racing shoe releases so far of 2024 that we've tested, starting in alphabetical order with the Hocus Yellow X1. The Hocus Yellow X1 weighs in at 7.4 ounces for the women's model and 9.3 ounces for the men's. This shoe has a stack height of 37 millimeters in the heel and 30 millimeters in the forefoot for women, and 39 millimeters in the heel and 32 in the forefoot for men, giving it a 7 millimeter heel to toe drop. This comes in at $275, and it's really best for runners who like a wide, stable base. The Hocus Yellow X1 sandwiches a snappy carbon fiber plate in between two layers of propulsive PIBA foam. And the result is, according to wear tester Kate, like springs on her feet. Kate recently wore the Hocus Yellow X1 for a half marathon in Greenville, South Carolina, where she ran a blazing fast time of 1:18. Now, we can't promise that the Cielo X1 is gonna have you dropping 6-minute miles for your next half marathon, but we can say that this shoe is definitely designed to go fast. Another thing to note about the Cielo X1 is that the carbon fiber plate in the midsole is actually winged, which means it comes out a little bit wider than what you might see in other racing shoes, which adds a touch of stability. And the shoe also has kind of got a wide, broad, stable base, which makes it great for runners who want to feel fast, they want to feel propulsive, but they also like a little bit of stability that's typically not offered in other racing shoe options. The one thing I will say about this shoe, my only gripe with it was the fit. The Cielo X1 is offered in unisex sizing. I received one size down from my usual size, so if you're a woman and you're purchasing shoes in unisex sizing, let's say you usually wear 6.5 like me, you're gonna wanna go for a men's 5 to 5.5. I received just one size down from what my size would be in women's sizing. I think it was a little too roomy. I was having to cinch the laces down a lot. I was able to get a comfortable run in them from tying the laces so tight, but then the material was kind of like buckling on the top. It just didn't look great, and I wasn't a fan. If you are gonna get these shoes and you are a woman and you're navigating the unisex sizing, I would definitely recommend trying these shoes on in store. I think that getting 1.5 sizes down from your usual size would be a good bet, but everyone's feet are shaped differently, which is why it's great to go into your local Fleet Feet and get fit, try the shoes on, see how they feel on your feet. I will say that our two other wear testers who tested this shoe, Kate and Max, had no issues with it, fit perfectly. This could be the shoe for you. I would just recommend, if you're a woman, trying these shoes on in store. Next up on our list is the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro 2. This shoe weighs in at 6.3 ounces for the women's and 7.6 ounces for the men's. Stack height of 38 millimeters in the heel and 36.5 in the forefoot. It's got a 1.5 millimeter heel to toe drop, and it comes in at $250. So this shoe is really best for runners who have a high cadence and a midfoot strike. You may be wondering, Caroline, why are you holding up an extremely dirty pair of the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro 2s? Well, my answer would be that I love this shoe so much. I wore it for multiple workouts, and I actually wore it for 2 half marathon races this spring. And I actually was able to squeeze out a PR in my most recent half marathon race with these shoes. So I really like them, and I'm gonna tell you why. The Wave Rebellion Pro 2 has got, you can see here, it's got an extremely beveled heel. What this is gonna do is it's gonna help reduce heel impact as you land and help you roll towards your next stride. For some of our wear testers, this was just too much. It felt awkward. They were having to find stability while they were running, working their lower leg muscles a little bit harder than they should be. It just wasn't a good fit for them. But for me and my other wear tester, Mandy, we have high cadences, shorter strides, and we tend to land on our midfoot. So this shoe was actually perfect because a lot of the cushioning is concentrated in that midfoot area. So as I was landing, it felt honestly like I was landing on a trampoline. I really, really like these shoes. They're super light, super bouncy. They've got a dual layer cushioning system with the carbon infused plate located in the midsole. So it's overall just gonna give you a really snappy ride if this shape works for your stride. Mandy said, my first run in the Rebellion Pro 2 was a 5K time trial and I felt like I was flying. It was the fastest I've run a 5K in quite some time. The foam was light and bouncy, and when I wanted to slow down, the geometry of the shoe kept me moving forward at a nice quick pace. Another thing we noticed about the Wave Rebellion Pro 2 is this grippy, tacky outsole covering the bottom. So a lot of super shoes, the main goal is to help you run fast, and part of the way that they do that is by shaving weight. Rubber on the outsole tends to be a little bit heavier, so a lot of shoe designers will minimize that rubber in the goal of saving weight. But we found that this was probably the grippiest outsole we've ever worn on a super shoe, and this shoe is super light. It comes in, it's comparable, if not lighter, than other super shoes on the market. Not quite sure how they did this, but it's definitely appreciated, especially if you're going to be doing some rainy tempo runs like the one I took this shoe on. Next up on our list is the New Balance Super Comp Elite V4. This shoe weighs in at 6.1 ounces for the women's and 7.8 ounces for the men's. It's got a stack height of 40 millimeters in the heel and 36 in the forefoot, bringing it to a 4 millimeter heel to toe drop. This comes in at $250, and it's best for runners who like a firm ride for faster efforts. The New Balance SC Elite V3 was one of my favorite racing shoes. I wore it for my marathon PR at the Philadelphia Marathon this past fall, and I'm super in love with it. It's soft, it's bouncy. I like softer shoes, so it's everything that I want in a racing shoe. So when we saw the V4 at the running event in 2023, shoe designers told us that this is gonna be even faster and more energetic than the previous model. So I was super excited to try these on. Because they redesigned the shoe from the bottom up and it's got a new P-Bax midsole, it's gotten a lot firmer than the previous versions. Now for me, I wasn't really a fan of that. As I said, I like softer shoes, but a lot of our other wear testers actually find that firmer shoes tend to feel better for faster efforts. I know a lot of you can relate to that. It feels nice. You don't want to be like sinking in as you're trying to take off and run as fast as you can. This shoe, definitely quite a bit firmer than the V3, but a lot of people will like that, I think. If that sounds like something you would like, be sure to check these out. It's also been redesigned with New Balance's Phantom Fit upper, which is a little bit of what they call their heritage technology. It's a little bit old school, but it works. It's 2 layers of really lightweight mesh fused together, provides a really nice lockdown fit. If you will remember, the V3 had that sort of stretchy knit one-piece upper, so the V4 definitely has a more solid locked-in feel, which is always good for not just running, but when you're racing your fastest, you don't want to feel like you're slipping out of your shoes. So the upper, definitely an upgrade in the V4. Reviewer Kate says, I'd recommend the Elite V4 to anyone looking for a solid speed shoe for distances from the 5K to the marathon, depending on what kind of support they like. This does not have a bouncy feeling ride, so I'd recommend it to runners who prefer a firm feel when they're running fast. Last but not least, the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4. This shoe comes in at 6.5 ounces for the women and 7.5 ounces for the men's. It's got a 39.5 millimeter stack height in the heel and 31.5 in the forefoot, giving it an 8 millimeter drop. It comes in at $225, and it's great for runners who like a softer ride with a higher heel to toe drop. The Saucony Endorphin Pro 4 is another super shoe that's gotten a complete makeover from the ground up. So first of all, this midsole foam, it's no longer just Saucony's Power Run PB foam. It's actually a combination of Power Run PB foam, which is what's used in the previous Endorphin Pro 3. Really light, really peppy, but it also has a combination of Saucony's Power Run HG foam. Now the HG foam is what's used in the Endorphin Elite, which is their top tier road racing shoe. Saucony describes their HG foam as their most energy efficient foam yet. So it's definitely an upgrade for the Pro 4 to be infused with that type of foam. It's still got a carbon fiber plate in it. I found that it felt a little bit softer than the Pro 3. Now, another thing that I absolutely loved about this update is the upper. The upper fit so nicely on my foot. It was the perfect blend of like fitting to your foot, molding to your foot, but still got a little bit of room for your toes to wiggle around. But it's definitely got that nice, solid race day feel where you don't want any excessive movement from your feet within the shoes. Reviewer Mandy says, who knew a shoe could transform you into a gazelle? Running in the Endorphin Pro 4 made me feel light on my feet, swift, smooth, and like I could outrun a lion. I tend to agree with Mandy on a lot of our shoe review notes, and I have to agree here. These shoes feel great. I've worn them for a few speed workouts. I've got a couple 5Ks that I'm gonna run this spring. I know I said racing season was over in Florida, but I gotta do something. and this is what I'm gonna be wearing. So stay tuned for my final verdict. Now, these are just the 4 racing shoes we've tested so far this year. I know there are a ton of other racing shoes out there that we didn't get to cover, but if you do want to learn more about these shoes, check out our Hocus Yellow X1 full video review playing right over my shoulder.